you stand all over the sanctuary. Turn to 2 Corinthians chapter 11. If you're tuning in live, amen, you can stand with us in solidarity, amen. 2 Corinthians chapter 11. Plus, if you stand, you get your blood moving, you can listen better, amen. Might have fell asleep. 2 Corinthians chapter 11, find verse 16. We thank God for the choir singing so beautiful this morning, amen. Thank God for technology, amen. Folks are even listening to service on their way to service, amen. I think that's pretty cool. 2 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 16, there you find these words recorded. I say again, let no one think me a fool. If otherwise, at least receive me as a fool, that I also may boast a little. If you don't mind, I want to preach from this thought, a fool's testimony. A fool's testimony. There are three things I want to share with you before I take my seat. First, let me tell you, fools don't know when to talk. Second, let me tell you that fools can relate with anyone. And then lastly, let me tell you that even I have played the fool. Walk with me before you got saved, before you was all dignified and holy and didn't do no wrong. In 1972, the group The Main Ingredient released the song, Everybody Plays the Fool. Come on, walk with me, amen. Some of y'all are older than I am. In fact, I wasn't even born when that song came out. And some of y'all remember being out there doing a little jigaboo or whatever the case may be to the song, Everybody Plays the Fool. If you don't believe in that rendition, in 1991, Aaron Neville had a remake of a song. The words that really stick out in my mind is that falling in love is easy to do, but there's no guarantee that who you love will love you. Praise Terrell. Some of y'all can testify that in your lifetime you have played the fool. I know you don't want to tell nobody. I know you're looking all dignified. I know you don't want to think everybody wants you. You want everybody to think that you have been perfect. But reality is that all of us can testify that we have played the fool over someone or something. Y'all gonna talk back with me today? Amen. I'll get to my point in a minute. I just get to my intro. Amen. And it's a fool situation. And before I gotta read your mail, let me help you out. Somebody that played the fool and dated somebody but didn't know they was a side chick. You don't want to talk to me. I have to talk to myself. Some brother up in here that paid the light bill, the phone bill, and the mortgage, only to find out when they left at 7 o'clock, somebody else drove in at 8:30. Everybody plays the fool. Somebody went to work when they were sick. They drove through the snow. They drove through hell and rain only to get to the job and say the job will always love me, only for there to be layoffs and find out you were the one that was laid off. Everybody plays the fool. Some of y'all got a car, thought it was all that in a bag of chips, drove all the way around town, wouldn't pick nobody up, thought you was going on, and then one day that same car fell to pieces on the side of the road. Isn't it crazy that you could be standing next to a nice looking car that won't turn on? Everybody plays the fool at some times. In fact, you ought to testify that you've been playing the fool with many a relationship. And before you think you all that, some of you can testify you done played the fool for your kids. You had the nerve to go into the school and tell the teacher they was wrong. Your kids would have never did that. They would have never said that. Only for there to be testimony of the fact your kid that made you look like a fool. Y'all don't believe me? Some of y'all that had to go pick your kids up from the jailhouse only to talk about and talk crazy to the police, only to find out it was your kid's fingerprint on there. Everybody plays the fool at some time. And the problem ain't playing the fool. The problem is who you playing the fool for.
Amen.
And so I stop by to tell you that you ought to be a fool for Christ. Y'all miss where y'all break the shout at. You've been a fool for everything else. You ought to be a fool for Christ. devil ain't with me, let me walk down your street. You done wore that Dallas Cowboy shirt for 15 years and they ain't been in the playoffs in 10. Y'all feel quiet, y'all feel quiet. Let me talk about y'all Chiefs fans. Y'all just started winning until last year. Yeah. You see, everybody plays the fool. It's just a matter of time before it's your turn to be on display with your foolery. But somebody ought to stand up and say, I am through playing a fool for stuff like that. I have found the price, and now I am a fool for Christ. You can talk about it, but the one thing you can't say is that I don't love the Lord with all my heart, my mind, and my soul. Amen. Boy, y'all a rough crowd today. Y'all don't like this topic. Y'all don't like to. Paul said it. David didn't say it. Paul said it. Paul said, listen, I don't want nobody to be a fool, but if you don't mind, entertain me as if I am a fool, because y'all give a fool more time than y'all give sane folk. And so let me help you out about being a fool's testimony. Here's what I've researched about being a fool. You ready? Fools don't know when to talk. Some of y'all got some fools in your life, and they always talk at the wrong time. They always say something that's just random. They always got something to say that ain't got nothing to do with the subject matter. And here's where a believer, if you're a fool for Christ, when everybody giving them sad stories, talking about how the world is going in, talking about how they ain't never got nothing, you are a fool to say, but God's been good to me. I know it don't sound right in the context, but is there anybody in here that had a conversation lately and everybody was complaining, but you had to look inside yourself and tell yourself, but God's been good to me? I don't know about y'all. I ain't saying y'all wrong. I just got to testify to what God has done. But is there any real folk up in here that know God has been better to you this year than he's been to everybody else? I can't tell your story, but I can tell my story. Food on the table, clothes on my back, a roof over my head, I'm in my right mind. God's been good to me. You may not like what I said, but I gotta tell somebody, he's better to me than I've been to myself. Fools don't know when to talk. Everybody being quiet. As a teacher, you always know the fool because they're the one talking the loudest. Fools don't know when to talk. Why don't we know when to talk when we're a fool for Christ? Because something on the inside makes me act crazy on the outside. It's not conventional, it's not planned, but is there anybody in here ever had a God moment where God just did something or brought something back in your remembrance and all of a sudden everybody quiet, but you had a thank you pop up in you? Lord, I thank you. Is there anybody in here ever been quiet, but God popped up a blessing that was on its way and you got happy and excited? It don't look right, it don't act right, it don't sound right, but it's such a God thing. Fool's testimony. Not only that, y'all ready? Fools can relate with anyone. I mean, you've been around a show enough fool. But a show enough fool can relate no matter what you're talking about. How many a show enough fool? Now, I'm not talking about y'all dignified folk. I'm talking about some crazy fools out there. I mean, you can be talking about anything, and a fool can relate something in their story to their life to something that you're telling in your story. And the one thing that Paul is saying in here is, he says, listen, entertain me as if I'm a fool. And then he goes through a litany of things and he says, listen, if you think that was bad and it happened to you, but listen, I'm a fool, it happened to me too. It's in the text. That's the preceding, that's the verse of the verses. He starts giving them the story, saying, listen, you think it's bad? Let me tell you what happened to me. You've been beaten, let me tell you how many times I've been beaten. You've been talked about, let me tell you how many times I've been talked about. See, a true fool, no, it ain't about how bad the story is. You just want the other person not to feel by themselves. And listen, every believer in here who is a fool for Christ ought to be able to relate with anybody. Why? Sin is sin. When you are a fool for Christ, you realize your sin wasn't pretty and that sin was ugly. You realize sin is sin, and but by the grace of God, all of us will still be in the sin.
See, listen. All of us ought to be able to hear someone testify of their struggle and not feel an ounce of judgment, because on the inside of us we know, but by the grace of God, there go I. Well, y'all missing y'all shouting points this morning. You gotta understand that if it wasn't for God's grace and God's hand on you, you would be just as messed up as anyone else. But God showed favor on you in that area, not to make you better than, but to make you to be able to relate with and have sympathy and empathy. Amen. Listen. I ain't gonna lie. Look, I have never been hungry. No, I ain't gonna lie. Tootsie kept some government cheese on that back table. We kept a loaf of bread at the house. Amen. We kept some bologna. Amen. We kept some spam. Amen. We kept some popcorn. Not that baggy stuff. I'm talking about popcorn. We kept some peanut butter. Amen. We kept some of that pork. And we kept a can of beef. So I have never been hungry. Ain't gonna lie. Now, I have thought I was hungry. But then she reminded me what was all in them cupboards and in the refrigerator. Now, if you come up here and you talk about being hungry, I don't judge you. Why? Because I know what it means to be spiritually hungry. Y'all miss that. I may not have a pain in my gut, but in my spiritual gut, I had a place where I long for something that I wouldn't get nowhere else. Amen. See, that's the ability to relate. And all of us have the ability to relate to one another. We may not know what it means to be high or to be drunk, but don't think you all that. Hello, somebody. Because some woman will come up in here and tell the story how you was high off of her. Don't say amen, say ouch. What do you mean running high off of her? If you get up out your bed at 2 o'clock in the morning to drive across town, you high and you see. It may not be crack, it may not be weed, but it's something. Anytime you need a comfort of what you got going on to go somewhere else and get a hit, you stop. Yeah. And don't think you better than the crackhead. Why? You're just as guilty and it's just sin. Yeah. Y'all want to talk to me? Let me walk down your street, ladies. Don't think you all that. I'm talking about that sister because she keep getting in a bad relationship. The only difference between you and her is that you keep your relationship secret. Don't let me talk about the brother with the good hair that you keep going to visit every week. That your car can drive to his house by itself. Don't you talk about that sister because she got some kids by a couple of baby daddies. Don't see. When we start judging, see, all of a sudden God lift up that veil. He blotted out sin. For every once in a while, he'll lift up that veil and blot out. And some of y'all know what I mean. Some of y'all been in church praising God and somebody walked in who was your secret. And you had to cut your praise down a little bit. Because you were scared she was going to look at you and identify. Yeah. Maybe that just happened to Davis. Y'all want to talk to me. Y'all, I'm sorry, y'all. Maybe that's just a Davis moment. Y'all ain't never had it. Y'all ain't never had that moment. I'll never forget. I was a keynote speaker in Tulsa one year. Boy, I was single. I thought I was all that. I walked in and somebody met me at the front door. And nobody knew that I knew that, yeah. And I tried to smile. And she had brought her fan club, and she came and gave me a big old hug and a kiss in front of everybody. And then people, I preachers say, David, you know her? I said, what happened? She invited me for coffee. And somebody knew and said, you don't even drink coffee. I said, see what happens. Sometimes you can be nice to a demon and get yourself in trouble. Don't you judge me, because some of y'all got in the same situation. It wasn't coffee, it was. We ought to be able to relate with everybody, and don't think you all that. Trust me, because God will allow him to walk in, and him will speak to you in front of everybody, in front of all your church friends. And then don't let him say just enough to get everybody else talking about, I'll see you Tuesday. Maybe y'all ain't never had that moment. Maybe that's a negative. Maybe confession is good for the soul. You ought to be able to relate to anyone. None of us are here and other folk are here. But by the grace of God, same grace, same mercy, same Jesus on the same cross. Took not just your sins on the cross, took my sins as well. And because of that, we are shared, kindred with everything to know that we've all been washed in the blood of the crucified one. And we ain't been washed. We ought to be working on them that they might get washed. And how they gonna get washed? They gotta know that washing will make you white as snow. A fool's testimony. Not only should we relate to everybody, y'all ready? Everybody is gonna play the fool. Look to your neighbor and say, neighbor, even you. No, look at him and say, neighbor, even you. Now, some of y'all raise your hand, but I already had my turn. I hope I don't have it again. But everybody gonna play. Everybody gonna play the fool. Everybody gonna play the fool. As a middle school principal, listen, I used to tell my little girls in middle school, look, leave that boy alone. He managed. Next day, he nice, girl. Next thing you know, they in my office 3 weeks later crying. What happened? I love him. Him did me so wrong. Him did me wrong. Him on Facebook with somebody else. This day I want to beat her up. She know he was my man. And I said, baby, you only 12. He ain't even a man. And then God said, you see how she playing the fool? That's how everybody in church has been at some point in time over something. We done all been on Front Street as the fool. Amen. Now, here's the good thing about God. God didn't let us play the fool on everything and didn't let everybody see what we were the fool about. Well, that's what you really should have count. When you think about how many things God did not let anybody else see, anybody else experience, but you know that you know that you know you were shown enough a fool. I mean, y'all still here? Just recently. I'm not gonna tell y'all what year, but they got a 2 in front of me. I was a pastor Newell. Somebody called me somewhere and said something crazy to me. I mean, they challenged my inner gangster. Way down inside. I was in a suit. I had a funeral to do at like 12, and they tested my inner gangster at 10 o'clock in the morning. And the person had a nerve to say, we can take this outside. I said, no. We can do this right here. They said, well, no, I don't want the police to see it. I said, first of all, I know the chief. But what you said, you deserve this whooping right here. I'm not going to walk out there because I ain't got the stamina I used to have. If I walk out there, I'm going to be tired. So I'm going to dust you off right here. And the fool stood up. I stood up and walked over there. And if it wasn't for the grace of God having some people intervene and stop me, and as I would always say, David, you got too much to lose, I was going to risk it all right there. Because what he did is said something about one of my children, and he said the wrong thing. And I can't speak for y'all and how y'all deal with y'all kids, but look at them little 2 yellow boys, you can't talk about them. You can talk about me, you can talk about their mama, but you can't talk about them. And especially when they're in elementary, you sure can't talk about them. So I gotta let them know they got a daddy who will fight all their battles for them. And right now, you didn't cross the line, and it's about that time. Now, the only reason why I wasn't on the paper and I didn't spend a night in jail was because God sent somebody in to intervene in that situation. But if I ever get too high, that nut might walk up in here and them feelings come back.
Amen.
Because I ain't forgot what they said. You see what I say? Everybody plays a fool? Look, right there. Why did I make it in the paper? Because God stepped in that situation. It was not because I made a conscious decision not to. Because listen, I had counted the cost and I was willing to write the check. And before y'all think that's the only time it's ever happened, Will will testify. It was a couple years before then that I called Will and told him where the checkbook was at the house and to make sure I was out of jail before the next day so I could go to work. Because I had every intention of making sure I was going to jail that day. And again, it was behind them boys. So when they reached 18, boy, I was so happy. I said, Lord, you have covered me for 24 years. Now that Cameron is 18, hallelujah, he can fight his own battles. Everybody can play the fool. Everybody can play the fool. And we are not judge folks when they're in their foolish season. We are not judge folks when they make foolish decisions. And we are not judge folks when they're in foolish circumstances and situations, because we realize we have been there, we're on our way there, and if God didn't keep us, we'd still be in there. And sometimes God lifted us up out of there, but don't act like you ain't had a there experience. Hey, hello. Let me talk to some of y'all husbands up here. Y'all tell me you ain't never had that moment where you almost had to go slap somebody because they were looking at your woman? Y'all leave me out there by myself. Thank you, brother. One brother raising you over there. Some of y'all just tripping, y'all. Listen. What did I tell you? I almost had a fight at the convention with a preacher who applied to be y'all's pastor, who pastored another church, who looked at Jackie in my presence, who shook my hand looking at her. And I let her know, don't you ever make that mistake. Now, if you gonna look, you better look in front of me. You better at least respect me enough to look when I ain't around. But if you ever shake my hand and look at her, me and you gonna have a misunderstanding. And here you go. I ain't even a jealous type. It was a disrespect that hit me. It was a principle of disrespecting me. Because I'm a firm believer, you gotta go somewhere else, dog. Because you'll never find this again. But the fact that now if you ain't got that kind of confidence, you can be jealous. But if you got some confidence, you have to tell everybody, I want to go. Bye. I found somebody better than you. I know you lying. I know you lying. But if you did find him, give me his number. I might date him. The difference is y'all messing up my text. But I want y'all to see how we can all play the fool. If it wasn't for God, we would have. To this day, that preacher won't talk to me. I ain't even married. He's still living around this dude. A fool's testimony. Listen, a fool don't know when to talk. They can relate with anyone. We've all played the fool. And then, listen, if you ever listen to a real fool, every once in a while, they make a point. You listen, every once in a while, they make a point. And it's usually with something that they are truly emphatic about. Something that they have passion for. They'll usually say something to make you step back and go, oh. Y'all ready? Y'all ready? Y'all still here? Now some of y'all look to the left, look to the right. If you don't see a fool yet, it might be because you're a fool. So take a minute again, look to the left, look to the right. Now you think about all the conversations you had with those people, and then remember, did they ever say something that made sense? Look at y'all, look at that. I mean, Pastor got a point, but you ready? When we are a fool for Christ, we may not know all 66 books of the Bible. We may not know the genealogy of Jesus. We may not even know who was in the ark and who was in the lion's den. And sometimes we may get excited and mix them up. We may not know how long Noah was on the ark. We may not even understand sometimes who Moses was. But everyone in here who is a fool for Christ knows this. Falling in love with Jesus was the best thing I ever done. Y'all gotta excuse me. But is there any fools in here that you don't mind testifying that you would have been a fool for your kids? You would have been a fool for the job. You would have been a fool in relationship. But falling in love with Jesus was the best thing you ever done. Is there anybody in here that know that you know that when you fall in love, it's easy to do with folks, and they may not love you back, but you found somebody that loves you for who you are, all messed up, but he still loves you, still jacked up, but he still loves you. Is there anybody in here that you can stand on your feet and testify that I love the Lord because he first loved me? I done messed up, but he still loves me. I done went astray, but he still loves me. I done fallen down, but he still loves me. Is there anybody in here that can talk about that you found an unconditional love? He looked beyond my faults and saw my needs. I love him, I love him, I love him. I love him, I love him, I love him. Is there any fools in here that you can't say nothing else, but you can testify? If they wake you up at 2 o'clock in the morning, you can say falling in love with Jesus was the best thing I ever did. If they put you in a hospital, you can lift up your hands and say falling in love with Jesus was the best thing I ever did. If you end up in a wheelchair, falling in love with Jesus was the best thing I ever did. I don't mind telling you that, Lord, if I gotta get dementia, and Lord, if I gotta get Alzheimer's, whatever you do, don't let me forget that I'm in love with you and that you love me. I wish I had somebody that don't mind telling somebody that you love the Lord. I know I don't look right, but I still love him. I know I don't say everything right, but I still love him. Falling in love with Jesus was the best thing I ever done. Oh, I feel good in my sanctified soul. I'm like Paul now. I've been shipwrecked. I've been beaten. I've been talked about. I've been scorned. I've been left. I've been walked out of. But I still know Jesus. If I look crazy, I'll look crazy for Jesus. If I sound crazy, I sound crazy for Jesus. If you see me running, and ain't nobody chasing me, I'm running for Jesus. If you see me dancing, and ain't no music playing, I'm dancing for Jesus. If you see me shouting, ain't nothing to shout about, I'm shouting for Jesus. Jesus, 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 Jesus. Oh, how I love calling that name. A fool's testimony is that now I'm a fool for Christ. Somebody say, well, when I come to Jesus, I quit dancing. I just changed partners. A fool's testimony is, listen, fall in love with Jesus was the best thing I've ever done. In his arms, I feel connected. In his arms, never disconnected. Falling in love with Jesus. Falling in love with Jesus. I never questioned their relationship. I never questioned if I messed it up. I never questioned if it's getting stale. And I never questioned if he's going to break up with me. Falling in love with Jesus is different than any love you've ever had for anyone else. I need some real folk. I need some real folk that you know that you've been walked out on. Found yourself still with Jesus. Been without himself, but still had Jesus. Even had to cry yourself to sleep at night, but you still had Jesus. And listen, as long as I got Jesus, whatever I gotta go through, I'm gonna make it. As long as I got Jesus. Best thing. You made some mistakes, but listen, the best thing I've ever done. As we say it all over the sanctuary, if you're here and you don't know Jesus for the pardon of your sins, we extend to you the greatest invitation known to man, a relationship with our Lord and